I believe there are narratives in sports that people are creating just so they can argue and yell about them, and I'm not sure that they're real. I'll tell you what that's about at 7:15.
Okay.
I want to get to a check-in with one of the losing teams of conference championship weekend.
I think you're more concerned about them than I am.
Okay.
At least get that feel.
All right. Well, we can talk about that at the bottom of the hour. What job is better, the Washington Commanders or the Seattle Seahawks? Because it appears it's down to those two options for Mike McDonald or Ben Johnson, the OC from the Lions.
Yeah.
We'll dive into that at 7:45, and Brady Henderson will join us an hour from now. He covers the Seahawks, so maybe he can give us his read on, do they lean defense? You know, McDonald, he's done well against these Shanahan offenses. That seems to be what the big buzz is with him. And Ben Johnson, we've seen what he's done with Jared Goff and the Detroit offense. So we'll talk with Brady at 8 if any of that news breaks. I don't know if we'll have Brady, but we'll react to it. We'll talk about it and get to it. And the mail sack at 8:15. So any and all questions you want to ask, anything is on the table. By the way, for show purposes, I finally did my first cold plunge last night.
How'd it go?
Awful. Have you ever done a cold plunge?
No.
Oh, it's just the worst. But I felt amazing afterwards.
Other than like a great cold river on a hot summer day.
Sure, but imagine you do a great cold river on a cold winter's night.
Yeah. No, not for me.
Me and my 12-year-old, I convinced her to do it. She wanted to go first, and she did it. I give her a lot of credit for that. She was pretty amazing at it. And then I got to go after her, and yeah, it's awful in the moment, but once you get out of it, you feel so good. You know, something we didn't address enough, I thought, on the show yesterday because, well, there was so much. Like, how are you really going to be able to get to all of it? Travis Kelce made history.
He did.
He became the all-time postseason leader.
In receptions?
In receptions. He passed Jerry Rice. He needed 6 passes. He broke that at halftime. And now Travis Kelce, when you look at the record book, Swag, it won't be Jerry Rice's name at the top of a catching record. It's going to be Travis Kelce. And I told you we were going to talk about this. I can already see your body language on the YouTube stream. You have an interesting response to this.
Can you name one iconic catch in his postseason run?
So I'm trying to think of the top of my head. You asked me this earlier, and I didn't come up with one, but I can think of iconic games. I mean, wouldn't you say the Baltimore game on Sunday was an iconic game?
Yeah.
He's 34. Everybody wrote him off this year. He's got the Taylor Swift stuff surrounding his name. And he came through in a monster way. What do you have to have? 9 catches for like 120 yards?
What did he finish up with? 12 for like $130 or something?
He finished with, I had it just right here. Man, I had it. 11 receptions for 116. That's tied for his second most catches this season and his third best yardage output.
Yeah. I mean, when we think about postseason receivers, you know, you're thinking about individual catches.
You're
Julian
thinking
Edelman,
of iconic.
David Tyree.
What's yours with Rice?
Well, the most iconic 49er, there's 2 postseason catches, and they weren't him. It's Dwight Clark to get to a Super Bowl, and then Jonathan Taylor to beat the Bengals.
Yep.
And so I wasn't the giant Niners fan.
No, you hated the Niners. That's okay.
Yes.
But you can recognize.
But yeah,
right. Like, oh man.
I mean, the year they torched the Broncos.
Yeah, just absolutely bludgeoned them.
Yeah,
he had monster game in there.
He had a monster game.
So that for you, it's not so much a catch.
So if you want to talk about one receiver for me in my lifetime that I associate with the Super Bowl, it's actually Lynn Swann.
Because of the diving catch against Dallas?
The Cowboys, yeah.
See, you're going iconic catches, but we're talking about all-time greatness here. I'm going to give you these numbers, and I don't know if these will surprise you or if you just go, okay, sounds about right. But I saw this, and I know everybody knows how good Kelce's been with Mahomes.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce now has played an equivalent. This is from Christian Guminger on Twitter. Travis Kelce has played the equivalent of a regular season now with Mahomes in the playoffs. They have played 17 games together. He has 133 catches, 1,516 receiving yards and 18 touchdowns. Those are his playoff numbers with Patrick Mahomes, Swag. 133 catches, over 1,500 yards, and 18 touchdowns. I don't know if you're coming up with an iconic catch for Jerry Rice, but what I would say is Jerry Rice's big staple, consistency being great. Isn't that what Travis Kelce's been?
Yeah.
He plays a different position. He obviously plays it a different way than Jerry Rice did. But he's in the midst of being hated right now by some people in America because of the Taylor Swift stuff.
I let all that go.
No, but I think it's part of the conversation with him of like him and Mahomes are now the duo. You know that, right?
Yeah.
When we think of all-time playoff duos, it's going to be Mahomes and Kelce. Once upon a time, dads in America, I grew up with this. My stepdad didn't play football much. He wasn't an athlete, but once in a while he'd throw me the football. He would always say, Montana to Rice.
Yep.
And that was a staple. Even when Young played, I think, more than with Jerry Rice than Montana did, it was still Montana to Rice. It's going to be for a lot of younger kids, it's going to be Mahomes to Kelce. It might be that now, especially for people in Kansas City.
Brady to Gronk.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's crazy because that's another all-time duo. But you're finding like little ways to not give Kelce his due when the numbers just simply say he's been more amazing than anybody in the postseason.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember anything. I mean,
but you didn't give me anything with Rice. You gave me a beatdown, but that was a team beatdown. The defense undressed Elway as much as the offense did. You didn't give me an iconic catch. You can certainly say on the drive that John Taylor beat the Bengals, he had like three pivotal catches, and he's a master route runner. His speed wasn't amazing, but Jerry Rice was football fast. He could run a route enough to give himself separation, and he was just fast enough to end up scoring on those. He didn't have an iconic catch. I don't know if iconic catch is necessarily the recipe here. It's how you view greatness. And it's weird to say, but I think Kelce's kind of flown under the radar. And I was surprised to see how many people were surprised themselves to see that he passed Jerry Rice in that category. Because Rice is tied so much with greatness, with being the best at his position and being so successful in the postseason.
I don't know that that's one of those records that just resonates. You're like, oh, okay, well, sure. He's played in a ton of games. He's been available.
See, what's surprising to hear that from you is I just think any record with Jerry Rice being broken is shocking.
Yeah, well,
because he owns so many.
Yeah, they didn't have as many rounds of playoffs back then.
Certainly, the extra wild. Oh, I mean, but he hasn't had that long.
It's like baseball postseason records now, and he's the all-time hitter, home run leader in postseasons. Well, the old World Series was you won your league and you were in the World Series. So the only postseason records that actually matter are the World Series records.
Doesn't his numbers at the position he plays make it more impressive or not?
No, I think you're starting to group tight ends and wide receiver, pass catchers, and he's the number one target for Mahomes.
So you're comping this
now. Tyreek Hill was before, but so
I don't know if Tyreek Hill really was. I think it's kind of always been Kelce. Hill was just like an amazing
he was the home run hitter.
Yeah, he was the big play guy, and Kelce's kind of been a staple 8 to 10 yard guy.
But it's more just a function of how the game is played now.
Man, I don't think he's getting all the media coverage for almost non-football reasons. It is funny to hear this, like you're comping it to baseball. Well, this is different and this is different. And I think you appreciate what he's done, but it's almost in a way, it's like it's still not really fully acknowledging he's been better in the playoffs than any other pass catcher. Even with the extra game, even with a slightly changed league, he's at the top of that now, and it's still like, well, it's still Rice. You know what I mean? He almost can't win, I think, in a lot of people's minds.
But he's already won.
Well, obviously,
he's winning life.
He's number one podcast. He's got Taylor Swift.
He was on every damn commercial.
He was
during that AFC title.
His thing with Swift is bothering people so much that you have former dropped out presidential candidates suggesting out loud that they're going to write them to the Super Bowl win. That the script's been written. He's going to win because they want Taylor Swift to be on the field celebrating the Lombardi. That's where we've gotten in society. But it needed to be noted that he is now the all-time pass catcher in NFL playoff history, surpassing my beloved Jerry Rice, who will always be my GOAT. But man, when you take down a Jerry Rice record, it deserves to be recognized, talked about, and it's interesting to think about where he stacks in the hierarchy of all-time great playoff performers. Him and Mahomes, man, if they win the title, the conversation about dynamic duos, because I don't think...
Now that that combination overall was simply unstoppable.
It's all-time stuff already, and they're not done yet. That's what's crazy about it.